1. According to the Community Services Block Grant Act, CSBG, what is the primary purpose of community action agencies? A. To provide direct financial assistance to low-income families. B. To mobilize resources to combat poverty and empower low-income individuals. C. To administer federal housing programs exclusively. To replace state-level social services. 2. When applying adult learning principles to community action training programs, which approach is most effective for engaging participants with diverse educational backgrounds? A. Standardized lecture-based instruction for all participants. B. Experiential learning activities that connect to participants' life experiences. C. Written assignments requiring advanced literacy skills. D. Theoretical frameworks without practical application. 3. Which evaluation method best measures the long-term impact of a community action program on reducing poverty in a target population? A. Pre-training knowledge assessment. B. Participant satisfaction surveys immediately after program completion. C. Longitudinal outcome tracking with control group comparison. D. Staff observation checklists during program delivery. 4. In the context of the results-oriented management and accountability ROMA system, what is the primary focus? A. Documenting service delivery activities and outputs. B. Measuring outcomes and demonstrating the impact of services on participants. C. Tracking agency expenditures and budget compliance. D. Recording the number of staff hired and trained. 5. When developing curriculum for a community action workforce development program, which needs assessment method provides the most actionable data? A. Reviewing previous program materials from other agencies. B. Conducting focus groups with employers and potential participants. C. Using national workforce statistics only. D. Copying curriculum from online resources. 6. What is the theory of change model in community action program planning? A. A budgeting tool for resource allocation. B. A comprehensive description linking activities to outcomes through logical steps. C. A staff performance evaluation system. D. A method for changing organizational leadership. 7. Which communication strategy is most effective when explaining complex CSBG regulations to community partners with limited federal program experience? A. Distributing the complete federal regulations document. B. Using plain language summaries with concrete examples. C. Referring partners to government websites for self-study. D. Providing only verbal explanations without written materials. 8. According to the organizational standards for community action agencies, which governance structure is required? A. Board composition, with at least 1/3 low-income community representatives. B. Board composed entirely of government officials. C. Advisory committee without voting authority. D. Corporate board with shareholder representation. 9. When mentoring new community action professionals, which technique best develops critical thinking about poverty causes? A. Providing all answers to avoid confusion. B. Using guided questioning to explore systemic factors. C. Focusing exclusively on individual responsibility narratives. D. Avoiding discussions about structural inequality. 10. What is the primary purpose of a community needs assessment in community action planning? A. To justify existing program services. B. To identify gaps in services and emerging community needs. C. To reduce agency operating costs. D. To comply with board meeting requirements. 11. In implementing trauma-informed care principles in community action programs, what is the foundational element? A. Requiring participants to disclose trauma history. B. Creating physically and emotionally safe environments. C. Limiting services to individuals without trauma backgrounds. D. Focusing only on crisis intervention. 12. Which Head Start program component is specifically designed to engage parents as partners in their children's development? A. Classroom instruction only. B. Parent, Family, and Community Engagement PFCE framework. C. Transportation services. D. Facilities maintenance. 13. When evaluating the effectiveness of a financial literacy program, which assessment approach provides the most valid measure of participant learning? A. Attendance records and completion certificates. B. Pre- and post-tests measuring knowledge and behavior change. C. Instructor self-assessment of teaching quality. D. Number of handouts distributed. 14. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which principle should guide service delivery prioritization in community action agencies? A. Education and training should always come first. B. Basic physiological and safety needs must be addressed before higher-level needs. C. Self-actualization programs take priority over food assistance. D. All needs should be addressed simultaneously, regardless of urgency. 15. What is asset-based community development in the context of community action work? A. Building programs based only on identified community deficits. B. Focusing exclusively on financial assets and savings programs. C. Identifying and mobilizing existing community strengths and resources. D. Prioritizing agency assets over community input. 16. In curriculum development for weatherization training, which instructional design principle ensures trainees can perform job tasks safely? A. Theoretical instruction only without hands-on practice. B. Competency-based training with demonstrated skill proficiency. C. Self-paced online learning without assessment. D. Classroom observation without practical application. 17. Which federal regulation requires community action agencies to conduct organizational assessments? A. Fair Labor Standards Act. B. Community Services Block Grant Act, Organizational Standards. C. Occupational Safety and Health Act. D. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission Guidelines. 18. When communicating program outcomes to funders, which data presentation method is most effective? A. Raw numerical data without context or interpretation. B. Narrative stories without quantitative data. C. Integrated approach, combining quantitative data with participant stories. D. Financial reports only. 19. What is the purpose of the customer satisfaction component in Roma Next Generation? A. To evaluate staff performance only. B. To gather participant feedback on service quality and accessibility. C. To determine employee compensation levels. D. To reduce program costs. 20. In mentoring staff on cultural competency, which approach most effectively builds awareness of implicit bias? A. Requiring staff to complete a one-time diversity checklist. B. Facilitating ongoing reflection and dialogue about assumptions and stereotypes. C. Posting cultural awareness posters in offices. D. Avoiding discussions about race and ethnicity. 21. Which grant writing element is most critical for demonstrating program sustainability to potential funders? A. Detailed staffing organizational chart. B. Long-term financial plan with diversified funding sources. C. Expensive color graphics and glossy printing. D. Length of the proposal document. 22. What is the two-generation approach in community action programming? A. Serving only families with exactly 2 children. B. Simultaneously addressing needs of children and their parents. C. Operating programs for 2 years only. D. Hiring staff from 2 different age groups. 23. When implementing performance management systems in community action agencies, which metric type balances accountability with mission focus? A. Only counting number of service transactions. B. Measuring outcomes aligned with poverty reduction goals. C. Tracking only financial expenditures. D. Recording staff work hours exclusively. 24. According to the Community Action Promise, what is the fundamental commitment of community action? A. To provide temporary assistance only. B. To change people's lives, embody the spirit of hope, and improve communities. C. To replace government safety net programs. D. To focus exclusively on children's services. 25. Which needs assessment tool is specifically designed to help families identify their own goals and action steps? Agency-imposed service plan. B. Family self-sufficiency matrix or similar assessment tool. C. Income verification form only. D. Staff-determined checklist without family input. 26. In developing a logic model for a community action program, what is the correct sequence of components? A. Outcomes, outputs, activities, inputs. B. Inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, impact. C. Impact, inputs, outputs, activities. D. Activities, outcomes, inputs, impact. 27. Which Malcolm Null's principle of andragogy adult learning is most relevant to community action education programs? A. Adults learn best through passive lecture formats. B. Adults are self-directed and bring life experience to learning. C. Adults prefer learning without practical application. D. Adults learn best when treated like children. 28. What is the purpose of continuous quality improvement, CQI, in community action agencies? To maintain status quo without changes. B. To systematically review and improve services based on data and feedback. C. To reduce service quality to save money. D. To eliminate all program evaluation activities. 29. When communicating with elected officials about community action funding needs, which strategy is most persuasive? A. Using only emotional appeals without data. B. Presenting local data showing community impact and constituent stories. C. Threatening political consequences. D. Avoiding specific funding requests. 30. Which Head Start performance standard addresses the requirement for ongoing staff professional development? A. Transportation and safety standards only. B. Standards requiring training and professional development plans for all staff. C. Facilities maintenance requirements. D. Food service regulations.